You can't do it.
Weirdo.
Yeah.
I clicked the record, by the way. So
I was just about to
I
say.
don't want to hear. I just
How
clicked
long?
it.
How long ago did you click it?
10 seconds.
Oh, okay. Art thou ready, good sir?
Sir, I have been recording for 1 minute and 37 seconds.
Okay, but I mean,
Can you roll your R's? I have a hard problem rolling my R's, as you can see. But it's only when I'm saying that many
rojo.
R's in a row.
Rojo.
Rojo. Sí.
5, 4, 3, 2. You just got knocked the fuck out.
That's hilarious. The classic.
What's going on, everybody? I know a classic that people don't necessarily always say is a classic, but that's classic cinema.
Anyway. Well, you just ain't talking to the right people.
Well, I mean, there's a whole other gray area that we can go into if you catch my drift on that one. All right. What's going on, everybody? You know I'm getting it. All right. This is the Whatever We Want podcast, and I am one of your hosts, one of the captains leading this ship. I am your boy, Superjaz, aka
Superjaz.
As nature intended. Superjaz, aka SJ, JT, Jazz, whatever, what have you, what you like, in the like, how you like, where you like, we gonna like, let's do the like. Can you like? I don't like. Maybe we like. Okay, we're done. And I'm here with my dear friend, my boy.
Yeah, y'all know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I. The sublimely magnificent, big ugly himself, Omari Ellis. Feogrande on YouTube, Giotavi on the Twitch and the Twitters. And I'm here today in a good mood, as I always am. Kinda. You don't know me. I could be in a bad mood if I want to be. Anyhow. What is up, Jazz? What is good? Oh, wait, you already know what is up. So we don't need to ask about that.
Yeah, you already know what's going on with it.
Well, they knew. I don't know if you knew.
I mean, I know. You know, it's up and it's stuck, right?
If it's up, I don't give a fuck. Or however that song goes, right?
Cardi B.
Yeah, no, I'm going off the same song, but
I didn't know you knew that song because I mentioned
it's up, and I don't give a fuck.
I mentioned Cardi B's songs every now and then that are played on the radio, like fucking.
I probably won't recognize 90% of them, but they use that one in commercials. So
okay. What was I gonna say?
I mean, if you go then I know you're talking about Megan Thee Stallion. She makes that sound all the time. It's hilarious.
When fucking Cardi B acted weird as shit on the Tonight Show and had every woman and still got every woman saying, "Oh, girl," I hate that shit. Anyway, just because she was acting like odd on the show, every woman is like doing that now. But anyway. I thought like I didn't know you were waiting for your ringtone to stop. I was like, are we cutting this out? But then you kept going, so that was hilarious.
Well, I stopped it. I was like mad, and then I just kind of stopped it, and then.
What was I gonna say? But so as I said, this is the Whatever We Want podcast for those of you all who are just tuning in, or if you're not just tuning in. And you're just returning. Either way, thank you for being here. This is the Whatever We Want podcast, where we do just that. We talk about whatever we want. And one thing that I always say is that we don't lead the conversation. The conversation leads us, and we just let the chips fall where they may. Now, why are we letting chips fall? Why don't we just pick these motherfucking chips up? Like, why are you being so messy with your chips? That's a great question, but I don't know. But yeah, let's get into it.
The fact that you try to like remix the air horn thing is what cracks me up.
Everybody does that shit on like shows and shit like that when they do it.
All right, fair enough.
All right, so what me?
No, just a comment I just got from a friend. It's similar to the comment you got from your friend.
Oh yeah, see. Yeah.
Although I think he doesn't know what the other one is.
Oh, but he doesn't know. What we're talking about, people, is the
episode 17.
The episode. So this is July 1st where we're releasing this episode, and it's the episode that just got released yesterday, which I think this is episode 22, and that was episode 17 we just released.
Yeah,
I think so. Episode 17. One of the things we talk about ding dong ditch and other phrases of how you could describe ding dong ditch, and I'm just gonna call a spade a spade. That might not be the best phrasing for right now.
Keep it a mystery.
I'm just gonna call it what it is and say that one of my friends hit me up after seeing the episode and said, "Oh, what's the other phrase for ding dong ditch?" And then I respond, "Oh, bro, that was too funny. We had so much fun recording it." Because my friend that I'm talking about was a black dude, and I know he knew what I was talking about. Pete is talking about a similar comment where his friend said, "What's the other phrase for ding dong ditch?" Well, his friend is a white guy, and he might not know what he's talking about.
Might not be the key phrase there.
Might not. He might not. Put it like this, though. It's funny if he doesn't know, but it's funny for a different reason if he does know. And if you all don't know, watch episode 17. Even if you don't like wrestling, go to, I want to say, maybe 9 minutes in and just watch for a little bit. When we start talking about ding dong ditch,
just watch the whole episode.
Watch the whole episode, but at the very least, watch that.
We talk about a lot of stuff that episode. That's just a small part of it. It's just one of those things.
We don't talk about all wrestling, no.
We've heard people talk about.
It's fucking hilarious. So that's why he started laughing. Because like I said, I'm just gonna fucking call the elephant in the room. Why are you making this face?
I am looking at my video and the liquid I had because it looked like there were separate like layers here at the top. I got distracted by my video.
That's the way the light is refracting.
You're refracting. How about that?
That's called refraction. The way the light hits.
I'm not good with fractions, all right?
Because the
like your basic fractions, you set your halves, thirds, and fourths. I got you. You go to eighths, you lost me. I didn't know you were one of those.
What does that mean? One of those?
What? People.
What?
You're over here sniffing shoes. I'm just like, didn't know you was a feet person. That's all. Nothing wrong with it. It's 2021.
There's nothing wrong with foot fetishes. I don't have one. If you do, that's okay.
Oh, hell no.
I can tell you. And
I don't understand it.
I can tell you.
And that's fine if you guys do understand it. That foot is a perfectly harmless fetish. I don't need to know that you're into it, but that is a completely harmless fetish. I'd rather you be into feet than some fucked up shit.
I'll put it like this. I do have a fetish that is a little odd that I could fucking talk about, but even for this show, it might be TMI. So, yeah. That could open up so many doors.
You just made it worse keeping it a mystery, but it is too much information. It was the fact that you have a weird fetish is too much information, let alone what that is.
I'll tell you off recording. It's nothing that's like weird as fuck. It's just some shit that's like it's honestly not even like talked about for it. If to even be a fetish. But yeah.
What if the ladies want to know, Jazz? What if they want to know how they can shoot their shot?
I'm not
be like, oh, you into the? What if the ladies are watching and they like, oh, Jazz is into something? What's he into? So I can get.
I'm not into pegging or nothing like that. Like, first of all, like I remember one of my coworkers.
And again, nothing wrong with you people if you are.
I remember one of my coworkers at one of my previous jobs. She was like, we were actually talking about pegging, and if you don't know what pegging is, look it up. I'm not telling you, but. If you look it up, you'll find it right away. But she was talking about that shit, and I was just like, like, some of the dudes, some of the women talking, and then it was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And she was like, I'd totally be into doing that. She hadn't done it before, but she was like, I'd totally be into it. I was like, hey, more power to you.
Fair enough.
You have fun.
Fair enough.
FBI, open up! All right, we're gonna change this.
FBI, open up. We ain't talking about no FBI open up shit around here.
Okay, so we're gonna change the motherfucking subject on that. All right, so to go ahead and start some actual dialogue flowing, I'm gonna get your idea on this one. This actually popped up in my memories every now and then. Most of the time on Facebook, I might just post like some networking shit. I might just post something silly or share a meme. But a decent amount of time on Facebook, I do share like, let's get your thoughts or ideas from like people in my news feed. I share those type of things.
All right.
So I posted this back on, popped in my memories for July 1st of 2019. And I'm just going to read it verbatim and then we can discuss. So it said, something I've been pondering for a minute. Is anything ever as good as it once was as time passes? My meaning behind this is, due to the conditions of the world at the time that made said thing great, can it ever stay as great to new generations and not just be good on a nostalgic level? Looking back at The Matrix, it was groundbreaking to say the least, but that's due to the world starting to descend into the internet age. So it spoke to viewers differently than now, since we've grown accustomed to the web being here. Younger fans of hip hop don't collectively hold Tupac to God MC status like people had for years, since music has changed so much and lyrics aren't as important in rap to some currently. Nintendo 64 and PlayStation were jaw-dropping to play because of the graphics, but if a system had those graphics now, they'd look beyond amateurish. And I'm only naming things from my childhood. This isn't to omit things like movies and black and white and so forth. I'm just wondering what others feel with this. Is it truly possible for something to be as amazing as it was yesteryear?
And this isn't counting stuff that just becomes more amazing with time.
Well, okay, give me an example of something like that. Because there are those
I'm gonna be that guy and say it. Sports.
How do you mean?
Everybody has their stories of yesteryear, and back in my day, sports meant this. But nonetheless, it's hard to ignore the fact that simple genetics, the athletes with each generation just keep getting better and better potential-wise on average, which thus makes said sports more entertaining to watch. And you see stuff like that.
I thought you were talking about more amazing with time, as in sports moments. That's what I thought you were doing.
Well, I mean, there's a lot more of them as you go on. And because you have more athletes doing ridiculous shit, because the genetics just keep getting stronger and stronger as people just keep getting better and better, and technology around to help their bodies stay fit longer or even more fit than before. You got your food scientists now that they didn't have in the 90s. So, your 90s athletes, that they had the shit that people have today. I'm not even talking about the whole, but you can't kill it. You can't walk out on the middle of a football field, shake a motherfucker, and, it's only a 5-yard penalty like back in the day. Yeah, I got you. You're right. Football was way more violent back in the day, and if you watch football for the violence, which I kind of do, you kind of like that. So I get that aspect of it, but the fact that the playing the sport itself and the skills involved to play said sport keep being ridiculous. Same thing with basketball and all this stuff. What was once an anomaly player in Steph Curry is now the fucking mold for new kids coming out, new stars popping up. They're just like, like your Trae Youngs. I shoot from the logo too. So do I.
From the logo, goddamn.
Half the time. Obviously, it's not every shot, but they make more shots. Or they make more. People make more shots from damn near half court or from the logo than they used to. Like they go for it in situations that aren't just buzzer beaters. They're just like, fuck it. And a 3-pointer. Oh, and they act like they've been there before every single time. Like, yeah, what did you think? And that's just sports. Now, like I said, people will still turn around and bitch about basketball. Well, you can't, cut a nigga's head off and get a, a stern talking to. Now you touch a dude and that's a foul. Back in the day, you cut a dude's head off and you get like a $5,000 pay raise. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, extremes and hyperbole.
Hyperbole, because I was trying to follow what like the word you were looking for too. Hyperbole.
Yes, I'm gonna go with hyperbole. I think there's another word I wanted to use, but I'm going with hyperbole because I started with the word hyper.
Hyperbole works in context. Basically, what I was getting at, though, I guess, to get us back on track for what I was talking about was more pop culture stuff, like everything that like not so much sports. What you gonna say? Sports is pop culture?
Yes.
No, but
there's that. About... I get what you're saying, but I want to be like, well, sports is pop culture. But to go to your other parts of your first points, let's look at music and your Tupac and your stuff like that. There is one artist who I don't think it has anything to do with the quality of his music so much as rumors surrounding him post-mortem that the kids may not know as well as they would because their parents are like, oh, this shit came out after he died. We don't want to show this to our kids. Nonetheless, there's one artist that I think withstood the test of time for a long time. That's Mr. Jackson. He did real well. Like I'll say music has depending on the song, like some people, yes, it won't translate as well with time, but there are still people out there that I'm older than you would probably guess looking at me, but I'll talk to like some fucking 18-year-olds or 20-year-olds that mention shit from that was oldies when I was a kid, and I'm like, you actually know what that is? Oh yeah, it's fucking fantastic. I'm like,
well, damn. to be fair, going down a music road, to be fair,
or is music not pop culture either?
No, I wasn't gonna say that. Music is very pop culture. Fuck you. No, I was gonna say, to be fair, and I am not the first one to say this in the slightest, but unfortunately, hip hop is the only music genre for the most part where the people who like the music don't honor its pioneers.
Yeah.
So yeah, like old sounding music sounds old as shit. Tupac, like I said, you look at like, people now, they look at Tupac and they're like, some people, like Lil Xan, first of all, Lil Xan famously said on some interview, Lil Xan is a rapper.
Is that different from Lil Xan?
I don't know who Lil Xan is. No, Lil Xan is Xan is in Xanax.
Okay. Lil Xan is a different person. I think he was like a one-hit wonder.
But no, Lil Xan famously said on some interview with some shit that they had him listen to some Tupac and he said it's boring. And it's just one of those things where it's just like hip hop is unfortunately that music genre where most of the people who love said genre, and that's what like when we were coming up, it's just every area of hip hop, they don't really like the music before it or even respect the pioneers for that matter. If you come out today, now, yeah, you will sound dated, but if you come out today rapping like Run DMC, get that motherfucking shit out of here. But don't even just sound like Run DMC. If you play Run DMC, not only will the most likely will the people who are young today hear that shit and be like, bruh, turn this dumb shit off, they won't even be like, who even is that? They most likely won't even know Run DMC in the first place. I kind of maybe heard of them, but probably not. When I'm talking to somebody checking out at a Big Lots about a week or two ago, and I'm 30 years old, and I don't really be feeling that old all the time or even act that old. I know I'm 30, but you know what I mean? And I'm talking to old girl behind the counter, just making conversation, and I think I told you this, but she has somebody on the shirt. We might talk about this on the podcast. And I said, oh, yeah, dude. I was like, he kind of looks like Juvenile or Cash Money.
Yeah, you did.
I don't know who that is. It's like, so, yeah, we went down a whole road about it. But that's why I was like.
Well, your Juveniles, I don't blame kids for not knowing who Juvenile is.
Well, that's why I said, or Cash Money.
there. I didn't fucking Wayne leave and turn to his own thing, like Young
Young
Money.
Money.
Yeah.
Young Money.
So people would only really know the Young Money nowadays, anyway. Like Cash Money, as much as a part of our lives they were, it was actually a pretty brief part of our lives. It all in the grand scheme of things, and I feel
Yeah.
like that. I think that's the deal with the whole rap thing and why it's not as respect the pioneers and shit is because a lot of the pioneers don't. Well, obviously, Run DMC legends, they stuck around for a while, and obviously, most people should know who Run DMC is. And same with Tupac, even though he's dead. The only reason he didn't stick around is because he died. At the same reason, I feel, as much as I love Tupac's songs, that's the reason he's on the pedestal he is because he died. Not
Highly
saying,
I know what you mean. It's
yeah,
highly debatable, but I know what you mean.
yeah, like, given enough time, because it's an inevitability with any artist, in my opinion, that the shitty album would have come out. Yeah, he wrote a lot more shit before dying that ended up still being good, but given enough time, everybody releases at least one album where people like, I ain't feeling this motherfucker. I thought you spit straight fire. Like you were talking about, like how long Eminem lasted, but I know tons of time people complained about the new Eminem, whatever it was, and then he has another one where they're like, oh, M still got it, and then literal next song, M's trash. He needs to hang it up. But
Eminem is such a polarizing rapper as far as like good, bad, good, bad, good, bad now because he does do shit like that.
Venom.
How the fuck do you have a song? How the fuck do you have a song where you just rapping like hardcore good as shit and then you fuck it up hard with the chorus? That's one thing Eminem does. Eminem will make some shit sound good as fuck and then throw a dumbass hook. My name is Marsh and I'm out this world. Okay, bro. Come on, Em. What are we doing?
Yeah, that sounds like some shit I would come up with off the top of my head.
And that's in a fucking song on his album.
Oh, I believe you. Because he's been around long enough to show that he would do that. You know what I mean? You tell me he's going to do some shit like that back in the day, I probably wouldn't believe you as much. I'm like,
that's
no.
why I like but that's why I feel like that's why I say it's highly debatable because when Tupac passed, he still had enough content for all his albums after and they're good. You could make that I would say that argument.
Definitely the argument works for Biggie though.
That's what I was just about to say. That argument works for Tupac, but you could really make that argument for Biggie. Because Biggie had 2 albums and then passed.
Well, and I told it to people who did it. And I'm like, and I say this not out of disrespect to either of them. I'm just saying that, especially now that you're talking about it and the way hip hop goes, like a lot of people though, like if I ask people who Master P is, think they're gonna know who the fuck Master P is? Like Master P and No Limit, again, big parts of our childhoods and shit. But once they got to the top, they just kind of took their money and lived.
If you ask somebody who not Lil Nas X but Nas is,
yeah.
Now that's what I'm saying. Because the reason why I say that is because compared to Cash Money and compared to Master P, Nas was actually a big name.
Nas was
Illmatic is considered one of the, if not the best rap album ever created.
Yeah, and Nas was great.
And it's like, now that would be one that would be more surprising.
And yet people still don't. People would still be like, who's Nas?
Yeah.
Especially because Lil Nas X is a thing now.
Yeah. I wouldn't expect a 15-year-old to know who Nas is, unfortunately.
Because like people who don't want to say Lil Nas X every time will just say Nas. Like if they're younger.
If you say Nas to me, when he first started calling himself Lil Nas X, I was like, what the fuck this dude? Lil Nas X. Wait, Nas.
I think it was Todd in the Shadows. It's like he combined 3 rappers' names into his own.
I didn't think about that. That's hilarious.
Like Lil Wayne, Lil Nas, and DMX with Lil Nas X.
And Lil Wayne too is like the only rapper that never took Lil off his name, as far as I know.
Yeah, a lot of people like taking that off of their name.
Well, because a lot of
most of the time they're young when they start.
Yeah, they start off young and they drop the Lil because it's like I'm older. It's like you still know me as this, but I'm like Snoop Dogg was originally Snoop Doggy Dogg. He took the doggy out. Lil Bow Wow was just Bow Wow, shit like that.
Yeah, the little Bow Wow to Bow Wow. I'm like, yeah, but that's also when he started dropping off and no one started caring anymore.
You know what the Bow Wow challenge is? Are you privy to that shit? Everybody was like making fun of his ass.
No,
It's not that cringy of a thing like the other shit. No,
it's
this
not like
was
the fire challenge or some shit.
oh god, what was that shit? Let me fucking pour alcohol on my body and light it.
Cover myself in flammable liquid, light myself on fire, try to put it out fast.
See how long I can stand it, which is the dumbest shit ever.
Not how long you can stand it, just light yourself on fire and put it out real fast.
Let me chew a Tide Pod to the point where
Tide Pod challenge.
They had to lock up Tide Pods in cases because kids were chewing them. The Bow Wow challenge was they the Bow Wow challenge was they were actually doing it to make fun of Bow Wow. It came out like some years back because Bow Wow posted this picture on like social media, Twitter or some shit one time, being like, yeah, flying out to, I don't know where he was from, like Costa Rica, wherever he was going. Flying to Costa Rica, like first class, living it up, blah, blah. Like made it look like this big thing. I think he took a picture out the like, window, plane, this and that, whatever. It made it seem like it was like a private jet or something, like real luxury. He posts that. Shortly after he posts that picture, somebody takes a picture of his ass flying coach, being like, this fool talk about he flying all luxuries and shit. He right here. So the Bow Wow challenge was, yeah. So the Bow Wow challenge was basically, can you make like whatever you're doing look super special and like all crazy and like you're doing it big, but it ain't shit. And it was actually kind of funny how people were doing it. Like they would, you might make the scenery look like I'm living it up in my backyard, or not my back. I'm living it up on Cancun, miles away from ordinary. But the way you did it, they zoom out and they had some painting or whatever to look a certain way, but they were really in their backyard in like a kiddie pool or something, like shit like that. So that was funny.
I will also say, like, nowadays there's this whole thing with the vocal minority. And obviously, I'm not saying the vocal minority is in a minority race that happens to be talking. I mean, like,
I heard that. What does that mean?
What, vocal minority?
Yeah.
It's, say there's a movie comes out that is just okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or solid. It's a solid movie. If you go out, you watch a movie, think it's solid, you might not feel like you need to remark on it. Like, it was a movie. I saw it. Somebody goes out and sees that movie, and they ain't like it. They gonna tell you about it. Which other people are gonna be like, I will tell you about that too. People, pretty much, you hear more people saying something negative about it, but that's not actually representative to what everybody says. Because if you like something, or unless you really, really love it, like, I need to scream my love of this from the mountaintops, you're not going to really talk about something you like, unless somebody brings it up, like, oh, that was a good movie, I liked it, but someone hated that. Let me, especially in today's day, let me make a fucking 40-minute long video of why Eminem's song "I'm Marshall Ann" is the worst song in the fucking in the universe. Look at this shit. Why this song is stupid. And then you got other people that see that got views. Oh yeah, that piggyback onto it. Meanwhile, if I heard that song and was like, all right, Em, you did it, I'm not making a fucking video about.
Well, that's like me. Like, I was joking about how dumb it is, but I'm not about to, like, we didn't even spend the whole podcast talking about it.
That's why I used that kind of as a hypothetical
we
example.
The whole podcast talking about it. I was like, and the song was dumb, whatever. We kept it pushing, so I feel you. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
But pretty much vocal minority is what you hear about things is not necessary, is actually the people being most vocal about something when they are not the actual viewpoint on that. That's just what you're hearing. But it
seems that way because those are the ones who are the most vocal. That's why they always say, like, if you're going to go to some place, like a restaurant or a hotel or whatever. And if you're looking up reviews and shit, that's why they always say that a lot of times you can, depending on the reviews, you got to know how to look through it, because you can have a negative review here and there, but most of the time, the person who complains is the person who had a negative experience or viewed it a certain way, and all the people who had a wonderful time might not have necessarily felt the need to say shit. That's true. That's a good point. That's like all the people who are out there who loved music to be murdered by, which the song Marshes On, to keep going back to that, all those people who love music to be murdered by, or at least thought it was cool, aren't making videos. But all the people who fucking hate Eminem, because there are a lot of people who fucking hate Eminem just as much as the motherfuckers who stand Eminem. So all the motherfuckers who hate Eminem are fucking out there. This motherfucking song Marsh, he really said,
you used a word in there that has kind of angered me in
Stan?
recent. Yes.
I don't have a problem with that. Eminem is the motherfucker who created it.
No, I don't have a problem in the way you just used it. I have a problem in it in the fact that people wear that phrase like a fucking badge of honor. I stand this, I stand that. Motherfucker Stan killed himself and his pregnant wife and kid. The whole point of that song is you don't want to be Stan. It's a cautionary tale, you dumbass kids.
And he was in the trunk. She was in the motherfucking trunk.
Yeah, pregnant. He tied his pregnant wife up in the trunk and then drowned her.
With him too, right?
And himself. Trying to send a tape to Eminem that he wouldn't have been able to send because he was recording it as he was killing himself by drowning.
And he even says, oh shit, how am I supposed to send this tape out? He even says, like I didn't think that far.
I just drink a fifth of vodka. Dare me to drive?
Oh man, that's a great song.
It is. It's a classic. But it's people wearing Stan like a badge of honor. I stand this person. Oh, it was funny. I was actually at a Christmas party 2 years ago, and I mentioned something about knowing an IRL example of someone that I don't consider a good person. A chick that I didn't really want to go into too much detail on her name and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But at the Christmas party shortly before shit went down, one of my friends was literally like, "What? I stand this chick. What's wrong with you guys?" And I'm just sitting in the corner. I'm like, "You don't want to be Stan. Stan killed himself. Stop it." Why does everybody claim they want to be Stan?
One of my old kitchen managers said that he was like, Stan was a little bitch.
Right?
And in a way, Stan was a little bitch. It's like, bruh. Okay.
In a way, he was.
Like, okay, you like Eminem. That's cool. Why you this obsessed with the motherfucker, man?
Exactly.
You this obsessed with him?
Exactly.
To the point where he didn't write you back in maybe a month. He didn't write you back in like a month. So you gonna rip all his posters off the wall,
mm-hmm.
and then tell him that you did it?
Yeah, I ripped all your posters off the wall. You the one that got a fucking tattoo of his name across your chest, and you ain't even got one letter back from the motherfucker yet.
And this is what shows you too that Eminem was like such a great writer. He writes that Stan said, P.S. we should be together too. So then when he finally answers, what's this shit about us meant to be together? That shit'll make me not want us to meet each other.
Yeah.
That shit was really good.
Yeah. What's this shit about you like to cut your wrist too? I say that shit clowning, dog. How fucked up is you?
Yeah. Oh man. Going back to, so bring it full circle, going back to can stuff be as good or like people making fucked up albums. If you talk about the fucked up album thing, I say to this day that if it wasn't for Encore, people probably wouldn't have started questioning Eminem's rap talent as quickly as they did. Because up until Encore, Eminem's 3-album run of Slim Shady LP, Marshall Mathers LP, and Eminem Show, fucking phenomenal. And then he did encore, and everybody was like, "What the fuck?" Now my middle school age self, I loved it. Looking back, what the fuck was I thinking? It's pretty. Aside from a few songs, it's pretty bad. But if he didn't put out encore, and let's say the next album was like Relapse, if Relapse came next and encore didn't, I don't think people would have questioned if Eminem was that good or not as quickly.
Yeah.
Because encore was such a drop in quality. Let's just be honest.
Not gonna lie, it is so much a drop in quality that when you say encore, I don't even think of Eminem. I think of the fucking Jay-Z Linkin Park. Can I get an encore? Da, da, da. What the hell are you waiting for?
Some Shady LP was like here. Marshall Mathers LP was here. Eminem show was like here. And encore was like M.
Yeah.
And then Relapse was basically like it's off camera. Relapse was like, Like I'm back on camera, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. That's why I always say that. No, going back to the original point though. Like, let's say the overall point of like the thesis statement, so to speak, of that was, can anything be as good as it once was as time goes on? What do you think, man? Just anything in general, period. And I was gonna say real quick, because I always say when it comes to things that we get collectively jaded as a society. So I basically mean, can it be as good? One, can it be as good, period? But two, can it be good? Because we get so used to so much shit being so much better that becomes old hat.
There are very few things that would qualify as a yes to that. Mm-hmm. But I do believe they're out there. We kind of mentioned the idea behind it, but I feel in a similar vein, regardless of what it is, nothing, especially if you liked it, nothing is as good as the first time.
No, and I think that you could call it a hard to swallow pill, or maybe not, but I think that the answer is yeah. No, I guess like no, nothing is as good. Yeah, I think the answer is no, nothing is as good as.
I will like, not as much as I love movies like The Mask.
It is not like how it was in '94.
Watching it nowadays would not be the exact same. I would not get the same level. I might still enjoy it, or better yet, I'll use not even The Mask. There's this movie called Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and another movie called Snatch, both by Guy Ritchie. Both are by Guy Ritchie. I like both of them. I've watched those movies a ton of times. In fact, I watched Snatch again within the past 2 months. And though I enjoyed it and could quote it, it wasn't the same as when I watched it the first time and heard all the jokes for the first, especially when it comes to jokes that you've heard infinite times.
Well, yeah.
Like, you can only listen to a specific comedy special so many times and still be like, unless Dave you take Chappelle, breaks in between.
Dave Chappelle killing him softly is one of the funniest stand-up routines I think ever made. But I've seen it so many times that it's not as funny as it was the first time, let alone first 5.
Yeah. So there's that. So there is the diminishing returns just for people who liked it to begin with. But as far as people who are experiencing it the first time as time goes on, so your younger generations who first turn on like a Thriller or a Beat It or a song like that, you'll probably get, to answer your question, less of them to be like, ooh, but to say that none of them would go, oh my God, Michael fucking Jackson, I can't say. That's why I'm like,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
Certain things, it's a very situational thing, but to say everything would be a phenomenal, or to say like, let's say Michael Jackson didn't come out in the 70s, but he were to come out today, do I think he would be as well received? Probably not, because he's so different from everybody else. At the same time, good music, there's a science to music. They teach it in school. So it might work if it came out today because it's different from everything else.
I think that the musically, if Michael Jackson came out today, I think that musically, maybe not as well received, but as far as his dancing and his shows, yes, I think so. Tupac, if he came out today, uh, I think now, granted, Tupac was one of the first people. Not he wasn't the first by far, but he was one of the first people to, on a mainstream level, be talking about the plights going on in like the inner city areas, and also still somehow be like, I guess you could say, he was authentically himself, streetwise as well as fun, and had a level of conscious. So he was speaking to a lot of stuff that people didn't know about. I mean, Brenda's got a baby, come on, but it was not going to be as groundbreaking in 2021, so to speak, as it was back in '92 with Tupacalypse Now. I think that's when it dropped, because him being one of the first to do it back in '92. What was that funny? What?
Tupacalypse Now. It's hilarious.
That's the name of his first album. His first solo. Yeah.
This is first out. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm getting serious.
I believe you. It's an awesome name.
But no, I don't think is going to be as groundbreaking in 2021 as it was back in '92, because him being one of the first to really do it like that, it would have been done. But I still think that he would have been his authentic Tupac self, because I think that, like you said, good music, and there's a science to it. And in rap, as much as people don't really care about lyrics as much anymore, they still do. So
do they? No,
I'll tell you what. I was gonna say. So they still do. So I think that Tupac, because people are, as much as people have gotten past conscious, people are always still looking for a level of goodly rapped. Goodly rapped. People looking for a level of well rapped. And I'm supposed to be the rapper out of too. But people looking for well rapped lyrics that are like, something that they can relate to. So I think that Tupac would still hit today if he just dropped now. But what I was gonna say was, people like lyrics to a point because J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar are two of the top rappers, and Kendrick Lamar especially focuses on lyrics like a motherfucker.
Yeah, and
trap is huge, and trap is just about vibing and I want to have a good time for the most part. But if you come out with a rap song that's not straight trap, but you're talking about something, people can still latch on to it depending on what you're talking about. They can relate.
Yeah, I'm just talking about being as big as they are if they came out today. And I don't think everybody would be as big if they came out today, because times change and states change. Would he have success? Yes. Would he be GOAT rapper of all time debated? Probably not.
Well, that's why I say I don't know if he'd be as groundbreaking, because the ground would have been broken. He was one of the ones to break the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But the ground would have been broken before he came out. So
yeah, just like Marvel and DC Comics, if they had gotten their start today instead of the 40s, they would not be nearly as big as they got to. Same thing with anime as a medium or any of that shit. Like One Piece, one of the most successful animes, blah, 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 if you're not from the USA or whatever. If that started today, no way it makes it to 30 years of serialization, or however fucking long it is.
Well, that's the whole thing, right? Like, you have
no way. People's attention spans today are way too fucking small.
You have like groundbreaking, things in whatever the genre is, so to speak, and then it's just like the thing that broke the ground. Would it be as good now once the ground was broken? Such as if you look back at.
I still think the series is good. Like, you could start One Piece today and still enjoy it.
Right.
Like, you could start reading what's already out here. I'm saying it couldn't be released. Like, chapter 1 couldn't come out in 2021 and we'd be talking about it in 2035 or some shit. Or
like Dragon Ball Z. If Dragon Ball Z drops today.
Oh, people would not like it. People would call that shit so.
I think they would say that they probably say it was boring and slow. if it dropped
It'd
today.
be like there's no plot. All they do is yell, blah blah blah.
Yeah. Even
Which
though Dragon Ball Z was
kind of
one
true.
of, and is still
And
one
for people
of.
who think I'm hating on Dragon Ball Z, just just
But Dragon Ball Z,
just gonna
Dragon Ball
show
Z was
that
one
there.
of.
I'm just
Yeah,
gonna show that there. The Goku statue my mom bought me when I asked her for a Vegeta statue when she went to Japan. I gave her
yeah.
like 3 pictures of Vegeta. I said, "This is the character I want. This is that's the statue she got me."
That's
Um,
such a mom move. That's amazing.
I
That's
love
such a
it though. I love it though because it's funny. There's this whole set of Dragon Balls right here. That's a box that has some Dragon Balls in it. So before you guys go, oh, you just a hater. Quite the opposite. Oh, and I don't know if you've seen it on the channel before, but the fucking hat. Okay, for people who don't know who Vegeta is, this is the character I asked for. Where's my hand? Where's my hand? That's the character. My mom got me.
You can't really see the
Yeah,
it all
but you can
back.
see
Don't worry
at the
about it.
very least, their hair colors is different, and that's all. Which of course, Super Saiyan, blah blah blah. But you get my point.
But yes, but that's basically what I was getting at when I say it. Is like, for instance, something like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids that did amazing in the box office. I know that was a random throw out, but
Honey, I
it did
Shrunk the Kids was
amazing
not.
in the box office
It was.
when it came out. If that shit came out in 2021, everybody'd be like, look at these bullshit ass effects. Get this shit the motherfucker out of here. Amazing.
Which
Or
is
if we take
why, which it probably, aside from just money grab, in all honesty, that's probably why remakes happen.
oh, it is. Remakes happen. Remakes happen. Well, mainly remakes happen because of money. Because they're like, you
Well,
know
I
what?
said aside from just money nostalgia grabs.
Well, yeah, but it's because it's because of money. They know that nostalgia is going to bring people back because they're basically sit up there and they're like, you know what? Instead of it's much easier if you're going making any movie, you're taking a risk.
Yeah.
Whether it's a huge budget or a small budget, you're taking a risk because you are putting up however much money, hoping to get a return on your investment off of a possibility of people coming to see your shit. So it is much easier to take a big franchise or remake something that everybody knows instead of coming up with a much like a fucking original idea and saying, I hope y'all like it, which is why you get Creed and Creed 2 years later off of the Rocky franchise, which is why you get Spiral from the Book of Saw, which is off of the Saw franchise, which is why you get fucking
And I will
MCU
tell you,
going on forever.
I will tell you, fucking Spiral from the Book of or whatever from the whatever of spinoffs. I prefer those over remakes.
You prefer spin-offs over remakes?
In theory, obviously they're hardly ever worth it because people want the original series. So I'd say I prefer sequels as opposed to spin-offs. Obviously, I think Creed did well. Creed and Creed 2.
Creed 2
Michael
was
B.
great.
Jordan's a great actor and everything.
Yeah.
But fucking from the Book of Saw was probably not good.
Yeah, surprisingly, Saws 4 through 7, trash.
Oh, yeah.
Jigsaw, which was like 2018, 19, and then Spiral from the Book of Saw starring Chris Rock. Surprisingly good movies.
Well, Chris Rock's a good actor too, so I can see that.
And then Sam Jackson is his dad, which is funny because they're actually kind of close in age. But
Sam Jackson, yeah.
But yeah.
Are they that close in age? Because Samuel Jackson.
I want to say if I looking up the age, I think it was Sam Jackson would have had to have had Chris Rock at like 15 or 16 for that to work, which is possible.
Really? Chris Rock is that old?
Chris Rock is, I want to say, like 60 maybe. If not like 57 at least.
Yeah, I thought he was in his 50s, and I thought Sam was in his 70s, but I must be wrong.
Something like that. But I looked it up, and he would have had to have him at like 15 or 16 for it to be his dad, which is possible. It happens, but they're much closer than I thought, right? But yeah,
who is this asshole? Samuel Jackson, Coming to America.
Will Coming to America be as good in 2021?
I don't know. Do people like Coming to America too?
Speaking of sequels, random sequels.
I preferred that over if you're going to do anything at all. I prefer you do a 2 than do a remake of 1 because
I see
1
what you
is
mean though,
damn
because
near. Well, it's not damn near perfect. You can probably pinky out. I'm a writer, and here's why it's not. I don't fucking care about you. I'm not a writer. I'm a actor slash consumer, and I fucking love the original Coming to America.
Original Come to America is fucking classic. But no, I can see why you say that because it's a difference between either one is unnecessary, but it's a difference between trying to continue the story or trying to like reinvent the wheel, basically. It's like this fucking shit is classic. Why are you touching it? Like the fucking 2016 Ghostbusters that they did with an all-female cast. That was more like a reboot instead of a remake. But
I would have much preferred it to be a sequel than to fucking try to remake it that way. I also feel like if you made it a sequel, you have a better chance of it being received better than it was.
I was upset at that movie because I loved all of like the main cast for the most part. Who was it? Kate McKinnon, Melissa McCarthy, I'm in between of her sometimes, Kristen Wiig and Leslie Jones. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, all female Ghostbusters with these 4, let's go. And they did that, and it was not good.
It wasn't.
It was not good.
It really wasn't.
Now, I will say this, though. I just saw National Lampoon's Vacation. And like I said, that movie, I was surprised at how fucking hilarious it really was. It is that much of a laugh out loud, like classic. But the movie Vacation that they did about 3-4 years ago with Ed Helms and Christina Applegate, which was supposed to be like a remake of that. No, it wasn't as good as the original, but I think it got a bad rap. I thought that was funny. So it just depends. But I see what you mean, though. It's like you're trying to like whether it is a Vacation where it's not as good but still good, or a Ghostbusters 2016 where it's just not good at all. Why are we trying to touch a classic? I get what you mean.
And at least if you throw the sequel tag on it and people don't like it after seeing it, it's they don't like it because they didn't like the movie, as opposed to we're trying to remake it and show you that we can do the Ghostbusters better than the one in the 80s because we're using women this time. So now you didn't already got people like, why are you trying? What are you trying to say about the old movie? You know what I mean? You're trying to throw yourself out there saying we can do it better. Watch us. And now people are gonna be skeptical because whenever you come out and say, when you say you are the greatest, no matter who you are, there's gonna be people that are like, motherfucker, I don't believe you proved that shit. And then they're gonna watch trying to prove that you ain't the greatest. Yeah. And if you don't deliver when you come out as strong as you do, because they came out pretty fucking strong about how much better it is because it's women now.
And that was the height of Kate McKinnon's like popularity starting to rise too. So they were like,
and again, I don't mind the fact that they used women in Ghostbusters. Like I said, I just wish they would have framed it as a sequel instead of a reboot. And when you did do it as a reboot, you didn't frame it as we're doing this to prove, women are better and shit like that. I'm like, you don't need to make the statement. Just say we're rebooting it or reimagining or whatever. You know what I mean? But the movie was bad, and it didn't deliver. And because you did a remake as opposed to a sequel, it got treated probably harsher than it should have. Because I'm sure there are comedic moments in the movie, but people are like, this is the most unfunny thing on the fucking planet, blah, blah, blah. Because they're going there looking to shoot it down, because you done told people this classic Ghostbusters that everybody loves, we can do it better. Now, personally, do I think someone could remake Ghostbusters and do it better? Do I think if Ghostbusters came out today, people, to go with the whole overarching theme of this video, people would see it as the bona fide classic it is? No. Because there's some dated stuff in there. Same thing with Coming to America or any movie that came out that long ago. Based on the fact that comedy is different now, in general, And there are topics you can and can't touch, even if you do it funnily. Because some people are like, well, you just got to be funny about it. They did it, but they were just being offensive instead of funny. No, they were being offensive because you were going to be offended by that regardless. Let's not say they didn't do it funny enough. The other people in the past just did it and got the laughs they did because different time and different circumstance. So a lot of that old shit, you do it now, people are going to just shit all over your thing, and it's terrible.
If Eminem, to go back to that, if Eminem came out in 2021, that man would not have had
that guy would not have gotten past one album.
No, not at all. Not at all. That man, you talk about death threats. That motherfucker, they would have fucking had his head while he was sleeping on some fucking horse in the bed Godfather shit. Like, no, Eminem, yeah, no, not at all. But at the time, yeah, like there's, I don't know if it still is, but for a long time, The Hangover was the highest grossing R-rated comedy, right? There's a line in the original Hangover, and nothing else in the Hangover for real is offensive that like to the standards of today. Not that I'm saying standards of today are bad or you shouldn't be offended, but there's a line in the original Hangover when they're picking up their friend, Ed Helms actually.
Yeah,
and
paging doctor.
Paging doctor, yeah, exactly. Paging Dr. Blank. If you don't know what we talk about, look it up. That shit, hell no, they could say that today. No, not at all. For good reason, but still. So yeah. So that's another thing too. Times change. So you know what? As I close this episode out, I honestly, we could go back and forth on this topic for who knows however many hours, honestly, about can stuff be as good now as it was then? And the question we could say is no in some areas, yes in some areas, and there's so much gray area in other areas. So if you feel so inclined, please join in on the discussion in the comments below. We would love to hear what y'all got to say, keep this going. And shit, maybe we might talk about this a little bit more in a later episode, or maybe not, probably not, but maybe not. But all that being said, yeah, give us some dialogue. Let's get a discussion going. Let's start a forum. That being said, if you would like to see more from your boy, yours truly, you can go ahead and look me up on my socials, one of them being my Facebook. Go ahead and like my page on Facebook. That would be Superjaz. That is spelled Superjaz. You can also go ahead and follow me on my Twitter, Superjaz2. So that would be Superjaz with the number 2. And you can follow me on Instagram, which would be Forever Superjaz, forever spelled correctly. As well, I am also a rapper, so you can look me up and find anywhere you stream your music, Too Much Free Time, and that would be every word spelled correctly. And you got to type in Too Much Free Time with Superjaz to find me because I'm not that famous yet. Pete, tell them something about yourself, sir.
Well, you can find me here every week, every Wednesday. Not sure if we said that yet this episode, but every Wednesday on the Whatever We Want podcast. You can also find me on YouTube under Feogrande. That's Feo Grande. Got videos on there of various things, including a series of videos where myself and Superjaz over here talk about that series behind me. See, I told you I was a fucking fan. We watch a whole bunch of shit and talk about it on my channel. I got more shit on my channel involving this than I do other stuff. Including like a fucking 3.5 hour video. That's just part of it. So there you go. Also, I'm on twitch.tv /GioTavi. That's GIOTAVI. Twitter handles the exact same, GIOTAVI. I play lots of games, mainly fighting games. I've been addicted to Guilty Gear Strive as of late. Didn't get into Strive at CEO, sad face. But I got into Street Fighter, so we'll see what that does. So I'll be playing that on the stream as well. Play other stuff too, because can't just play the same game every day throughout the week. I ain't that good, nor am I that invested. Either way, come by, chat, and whatever. Streaming day in 2021. Hashtag day 2021. At this point, I'm about 181 days strong, and we still got the other 184 to go.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I've somehow stuck with streaming something in some capacity every day. It's not like I do an 8-hour stream every day or nothing, but I have streamed every day this year.
Good for you, damn.
But yeah, so see us around with that. Yeah, and comment down below. Let's talk. Let's talk about stuff.
Yeah, we want the likes, we want the subscriptions, but if anything, we want to just talk to y'all. But all that being said, speaking of saying, maybe you could tell me, but what would we be saying or what would we be talking about next time?
And I can talk back when I say whatever we want.
You made that weird.
Adiosness.